Good afternoon. This is the Accounts and Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, April 23rd. Calling the meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. As we have remote and in-person members, we need a roll call attendance.
Okay, Gerald Mazik is here.
Mark Hussey here.
Andrea Wood here.
Sam Grant here.
Yeah, this muted.
Josh Lovett here.
Yeah,
There we go.
Josh, thank you. And Don Hayes present. It's 6 members present, so we have a quorum. We are good to go. This meeting is being recorded and playback, and it will be available for playback on Channel 9 various times, as well as on the YouTube channel in the future. Item 4 on the preliminaries, additions or deletions. At this point, I have no additions or deletions. Is there anything urgent that came up to anybody's knowledge?
Not I.
Okay, that being heard, we'll continue into the work session. The first is review reserve fund transfer requests. And right now, I will bring up, we had a new one come in from the police department. And I apologize if I didn't get this out to everybody, but we can share it here. There was a request. They had a burner blower failure on their heating system, and they needed to get it repaired. And the request that they have is for $4,015.07.
Is there a receipt for that or
There,
a service report? It's a lot of money for a blowout.
Let's see.
And I'd just like to know what caused it. Here we go. Okay, so they replaced the boiler. They replaced a fairly major part of the of the system.
And so the prices,
Yeah, plus the labor.
and then the work summary is down on the second page. Pretty much the same.
Yeah, or the part, right up there.
All operational at this time, so that,
I'm good with that.
I'm fine with it.
Huh?
I'm good.
okay.
It's expensive, but you know, they did replace a fairly major part of the unit.
Let me open up the transfer request.
And where they want to take it out of?
They want, at this point, we're still within the reserve fund window. We don't have the municipal transfer requests available to us at this point.
Because of the timing.
Because of the timing.
Yeah.
We have about a week, 8 days before we enter the MRT window. So the number for this request is the FY24 number. At this particular time, we have a balance of 16,400 in there. If we take this and approve it, the balance goes to 12,384.
And that's free cash?
That is the reserve fund. So
Oh, okay,
at the
the
beginning of the
reserve
year,
fund.
they give us.
That's what we added to this year.
Yeah, we went to 50,000. So this is, it's still 9 weeks to go in the year.
And again, they have nothing in their budget that's
They-
left to.
Right, the amount they had in their budget is going to cover the ongoing, monthly maintenance that they are doing and paying for. So
Now, the other ones we're looking at,
we still have 2 on hold for facilities.
coding and stuff.
We have 2 on hold for facilities, the generator radiator failure and
Yeah.
the town hall ceiling repair.
Would that come out of this account also?
This would count, if we approve them,
Yeah,
Um,
it would come out of this account
it will come
also.
out of this account.
And what would that
Also.
leave us with?
If both of those are approved,
How much is the ceiling?
the ceiling was
It was a fair amount.
3,950
Between the both.
and,
3,900.
Oh,
sorry,
so
sorry.
you've already included it then in here.
But because it doesn't say, yes, we've approved it, it's not
It
deducted.
didn't deduct. Okay,
So,
yeah.
We're going through and.
So hit a yes and I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
that'd leave
so
us
if we
$5
do the two
grand.
yeses on the remaining, and sorry, the ceiling is 3,450, the radiator failure for the generator is 3,950.
How big, did the whole ceiling fall down for $3,000?
Well,
A lot of money.
Well, I guess the other question is too, did we repair the roof so it doesn't happen again?
Well, there you go.
I don't know. But, it happened,
it was
It's not that big an area, though, is it?
called,
No, but it's,
It has to be done.
they gotta set it up. It's
They have to
it's
set it
over a
up.
scale, I
Right.
believe.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so
right
you
over
just
the
can't, so
Staging
you
and
just
stuff.
can't stand up and put it
Yeah,
up. I think
it's
that's a
not.
reasonable cost. But again, I just hope that the repair was made so it doesn't happen again.
and again, we have been watching these closely. The April has not closed yet, so we don't
Mhm.
have the BVA report yet for April, so, Katie is aware of it, and if we're getting close on there, she's gonna let us know if facilities need this money, we need to approve it.
Oh, because they're not quite exhausted yet.
Right, they
Okay.
weren't quite exhausted.
Yeah, okay,
We approved the two bigger ones,
Mhm.
so we had approved about 15,000 for them, so
Yeah.
that put 15,000 into. That was.
Yeah, the sewer pump failures.
Yeah, how much was that?
And then the elevator repair.
67?
Yeah.
67.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you would like a copy of this, I will print it out. We should probably get it posted on our page on the town website.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. So are we going to address the facilities issues tonight also?
At this point, because they haven't said that they were running low on.
We're not
Yeah,
going to. then. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to keep them on hold.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to monitor the account. Again, if we had done that, we'd be down to $4,000 remaining in reserve fund. So we're trying to be very cautious that there is
Yeah.
at least a little bit of
We got
money.
a few weeks left,
We-
right?
We have a total of 9 weeks, but we get to municipal transfer window starting May 1st.
Okay. So we could do that with facilities if needed.
If need be,
Yeah.
we can look and find where there may be an account that hasn't been totally used up and transfer those monies in at that point, so.
Well, I guess the way I look at it is that the motor failed, the blower,
Yeah,
we
again,
needed to get it going this fall, so,
yeah,
after understanding what the repair was, I'm good with it.
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's how I
are
feel.
there any questions on the phone? Andrea, Sam, or Josh?
I have none.
None here.
Okay. I guess then we're ready for a motion to approve. The request was for the dollars and cents, and maybe what we should do is just the whole round off to the 4,015, leave the 7 cents.
Oh, that's how the accountants do it. That's right.
Are you saying I'm an accountant?
No, I'm just saying you sound like one.
It's a rounding error.
Yeah.
And just to keep it whole dollars more than anything. And so we can, but the request was for the full amount, including,
The service call.
the full amount of the service call, the
Yeah.
4,015
Yeah.
or 7. So, I mean, numbers are numbers. We can put it in there. That just,
Yeah.
reduces us to 93 cents on the change.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve
Yeah.
the $4,015 for the police department, heating system blower repair,
I'll second.
replacement.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mark and a second by Jerry. Any further discussion or questions? Roll call vote then, please.
Gerald Mazeikis, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Okay. I'll say Don Hayes, yes. Josh, probably still on mute. This meeting is
27. Ooh, I'd be real old then.
so because Josh didn't vote,
I thought he was not with us, or I thought
he was.
No,
but,
can you, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got you now.
I do vote yes. Sorry, Josh, voted yes.
Thank you. It's kind of, just wanted to be sure, kind of like sometimes, it sounded like you were in the car when we started.
No, I am in the car. I just got home, so sorry for the audio problems.
Yeah,
No worries.
That happens. It's kind of a little bit. Okay. Thank you. I will take that and sign it and get it to the accountant out of session. And the next item on the schedule, I was looking to review the annual and special town meeting warrants. They have not been received yet. My understanding from town administrator was that the special town warrant was complete and ready to be posted, and he was working on completing the annual town meeting warrant this afternoon to get it to the constable to get it posted. So that will be shortly. So we'll look at those on Thursday. We have our next meeting is Thursday.
Oh, no, we're not doing Tuesday.
This is Tuesday.
No, next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
so
is being retired, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
This-
I got it. All right, yeah.
so
4
yes,
o'clock.
It feels like a Thursday.
yeah. So Thursday is at 4:00.
Yeah.
A week from today, April 30th
Yeah.
at 6:00.
Okay. Yeah.
Back here. We will be hitting that. Okay, that being said, the next item is reviewing the omnibus budget, the FY25 review, and starting to take a look at that and make the votes necessary. There were still a couple of open items that they didn't have final dollars for in the budget, so we'll leave them to the later portion when we get to them. They're not in the general government portion of it. It's insurances and something in the Board of Health area.
Let's pick up that.
I do know that at the selectmen's meeting, they were talking about asking each department to reduce their budget by 10%, just to look at that number, see what was gonna happen.
Yeah, Eric says at that meeting that as it stands now, we're over $1 million up from a balanced budget.
Exactly. They also,
Okay, now, is that including the fact the override failed and still staying at the school budgets funded at the
yes,
at their full
Yeah.
request? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just so that we're clear.
so to make up for that again, they were asking, well, what happens if there was a 10% decrease from each department? They also spoke very lightly about a fee for trash.
So,
But nothing was really decided, especially until the school department gets back to Eric about
right.
their
And-
response.
Right, their response to.
Correct.
the fact that the overrides failed and the towns weren't ready to support those budgets.
So depending on what number they come back,
Mhm.
depend on what the selectmen
Direction.
decide as far as
Mhm.
departments are concerned.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could go for another override vote or not with a new budget number. It's just a question I have. I don't
Mhm.
know. It's a costly thing though to have another.
It's another, yeah, and, I think
I
the
think they
town
can.
clerk is.
I
it's
think
about
they
$4,000.
can too.
Yeah, if we vote a budget at town meeting, that requires an override, we would have that vote at town meeting, and then you would have to schedule within 60 days
Another
election,
ballot. Yeah.
another ballot,
Yeah.
specifically for that, so.
I'm just
So-
curious, I wonder how much of a reduction it would be. Would it warrant having another vote?
Mhm.
If
Right.
it's only $100,000, I mean, it's certainly, if everybody shows up that voted. And I was shocked too that I think it was 1,300 voters out of, what do we have, 4 or 6,000?
Seven, I saw on the list, it said
Seven.
7,000.
Well, I'm sorry, Andrea, what was that?
I thought it said 7,000.
7,000, yeah.
7,000.
And we had what, 1,300 that
About,
voted?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of,
about 400 a precinct.
right. So I know a lot of
Exactly.
people are busy and stuff, but it makes you wonder if they really know what's happening in town. And then they-
Mhm. Right.
It doesn't, to me, it doesn't make me wonder what, if they know what's happening.
They
It
don't
makes
care.
me wonder if they care. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm glad their pockets aligned.
Well,
Yeah.
nobody
Until one
ever
day they go,
seems-
oh my God, what's going on in
Yeah.
town? What the heck's happening? You know?
Yeah. And that's when you say to them, did you go to the town meeting?
Yeah, and they go, well, that's old news, right? I mean, you can't, I don't know. But anyways, that's what I got out of the meeting this
Right, so
afternoon.
So as the meeting progresses,
We can then progress.
right, but do we want to hold for a week reviewing this? But
Well,
it-
they did
so-
mention
because-
involving us with it too.
Okay,
That was brought up, that we
Yeah.
need to, Terry brought that up and they
Mhm.
agreed that we should be involved to some extent.
They always agree that we should be involved, and they're always going to keep us informed,
Yeah,
and they
Yeah.
never, ever have. When you get
I
a
just had
memo,
to say that because I'm a nice guy. You're right.
well, I'm not.
You are right, Andrea. Let's see what happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I suspect on a lot of these, as far as 10% in a budget for somebody,
It's gonna be all set.
we have, but how can it be? You've got union,
If the money's not in, this was brought up, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea. If the money is not appropriated or the money is not there, it's not an issue. Am I correct? With the unions?
I was confused regarding that where the union is concerned. He said if they had to lay off personnel, the terms under which they were laid off would be set by the unions. But with my
Mhm.
experience in the past, the unions are extremely hesitant to lay people off. So I don't know.
I kind of read it a little bit differently, that it wasn't a problem. Because I know
Okay.
Terry asked that question. I don't know if you heard it, and maybe I misunderstood it.
Well, maybe I
Um,
misunderstood it. I don't know.
Right.
The meeting got very
We need to
confused.
talk to them directly.
right, so is more clarity needed on whether it's all, it can be salary or expenses, because the expenses were trying to be kept to a minimum. increase.
Just to start with, yeah,
Just to
exactly.
start with.
And that was brought up too, is like, everybody's running on thin
Right. Yeah.
budget,
Right.
and to reduce it by 10% is a hurdle for sure,
It is, it's gonna, so, and there has to be talk and brainstorming about some of the ideas. Would it be there's a half-day shutdown at town hall somewhere, so we cut out 3 or 4 hours of work.
Closing one day.
But if we close one day, that's in,
Did we not do that before and have
20%.
Fridays where the town hall was
Monday.
closed or Mondays or whatever? it
right,
was?
so,
Yeah.
so you're talking a 20% cut in total hours, but, can we do that and how does it apply this? So, and what work wouldn't get done because you have that number of fewer hours
Oh,
available. to you.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
each department would have to be involved to identify what work is required.
And I think that's what they were asking, most likely, they just mentioned about a 10% cut throughout each department. What it would consist of is.
Every department's different, so I mean.
Yeah.
some departments-
Exactly, so it'd be,
Yeah.
my thought would be, it'd be up to each department, present your budget with a 10% cut and
Yeah.
what does it look like, what are the
Right.
impacts?
Right,
And I don't want to speak for the selectmen.
right.
so-
Mm.
There was a 10%. They did talk about the 10%
Yeah.
increase might be let go personnel. But if you
Right.
remember, the first action they took at the meeting was to appoint a full-time person to the police department.
Oh, I missed that. I missed the very first.
Full-time police, I think.
Oh, no, I did see that, but that was in the budget though, wasn't it?
Not for next year.
Oh, it was an immediate appointment. I
They
didn't
should have
know
just,
that.
they should have,
Put a hiring freeze in
Yeah, yeah.
until,
Well, I think, do we have an issue coming up like that with the assistant fire chief?
the assistant fire chief had,
Was he budgeted for this year?
Joe said that there will be no cut at the police department and/or the fire department, if that is worth anything.
Well, if the town decides not to fund it, I don't know
right.
what can happen there.
Yeah.
One of the
I know
things
no one wants that to happen. No one wants that to happen.
Oh, no, nobody wants anybody to lose their
Right.
job or anything. But then
Right.
again, if you cut 10% out, and if that means losing an employee because your expenses are already too thin,
Yeah.
what good is it to spend 90% of the money on a job you can't do because you don't have the people or the supplies to continue your job?
I think that's what everybody in this country is doing right now, is trying to figure out how to do that. And we have to do that. Somehow we all have to do that within our own budgets, let alone the town.
Well, it would seem to
Hard
me that we,
decisions need to be made, possibly, and no,
and yet we fully intend to take on all these people that we got on ARPA funds.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's-
you know what? That's been a sore issue with me from the beginning.
Yeah, me too,
Me too.
And it's now slapping us right in the face.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because didn't we budget X number of dollars for 2 or 3 positions coming up?
Correct,
So, for
correct.
So maybe we should rethink
Yeah.
that.
And the thought at the time, not my thought, was that we can just save for this position. In 3 years, we can't afford it now. How can we afford it in 3 years?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have.
But that's all in the past. That's all in the past.
So.
Well,
listen-
and you have to remember, you think of it as a we have a tendency to think of those positions as a salary. But you have to remember that it's full blown. They are also funded all their benefits. So whatever the salary is.
Exactly, exactly.
And the
There's
full-
still
That's never on that
healthcare
line. It's all
all
on the
the
line
rest.
with the benefits, and that's a bazillion dollars to
it's
staff.
a separate line.
So you don't see that.
When you look at salaries, the rough number is about 30% of a salary is.
Is benefits.
Is benefit.
Yeah.
So whatever the salary.
So
line
the
is,
salary plus 30%.
rough order of magnitude.
Yeah, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
But it's funny how it looks on a budget sheet.
Right, yeah, you don't have, when we have salary lines, we don't have the true picture of cost for the department because the other
Because
stuff.
they don't include, that's not part of their budget, the benefits, which makes it hard to understand.
Right, what's the true cost?
One of the things that is hard to understand as well is the trash contract.
Mhm.
Because of the totes, but if they get totes, it's cheaper than. Apparently, Mr. Shaw doesn't have the personnel that he used to have. He has these new trucks, and the new trucks only pick up the certain kind of tote. They said they had options for dealing with this, but the only real option they discussed to any degree was to fund it, the budget, whichever one budget the selectmen decide is best, I guess. I don't know. That was real clear. And then charge the homeowners in town X
Mhm.
amount of dollars to pay off that contract. Well, that's a good idea. I mean, on the face of it, if everybody lives up to their responsibilities and can afford to live up to their responsibilities. But take taxes, for example. Not everybody pays their taxes. That's why we have tax title. Not everybody is going to pay for the trash contract either. Then what do we do?
Well, it's just, I didn't hear, this is the first I heard of that. I know it's going up, what, a couple $100,000?
Oh,
And they want to do a 5-year contract?
Roughly, yeah. And
well, the chairman, they it was last night's Board of Health meeting was kind of confusing because everybody was resigning.
Yeah, I know.
So,
in the end of the year.
No,
Yeah.
Nobody ran.
Resigned. Well, on the one, but the one that was, his term ended yesterday with the elections.
Who was that?
That was chairman.
yeah, but he was,
Not re-up.
He did not re-up, he wasn't on as you said, there was nobody
There was
running.
nobody on the,
So
on the
that
shut down.
would leave the two
so
remaining.
nobody in the,
Yeah, so,
it-
so that.
but
you know, so
anyway,
yeah,
one of the
so-
things they the chairman, Mr. Nusella, wanted to go for 5 years. And this is what he said. I think he just meant it as a casual comment because he's much brighter than that. Is he said, well, it just we should accept it for 5 years and then we won't have to worry for a while. But if it goes for 5 years, it has to go before. I can't remember if it's a special
It has
town
to go
meeting.
before town meeting, doesn't it?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the state only allows you at max to do a 3-year contract.
A 3, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And then they didn't discuss much about the 3-year contract. They got arguing or talking about other things. I think, but Mr. Nutella, one of the things they did say is, and I believe Eric is putting it on the warrant, is to give them, the people, the choice on which
Mhm.
contract,
option.
which plan they want to take
Right.
regarding trash.
Yeah.
I heard-
yeah.
I heard at one point where it was brought up that the selectmen can just charge a fee. And I don't know how they can do that. If it's in our taxes anyways, they can attach another fee. I don't,
Well,
I
it
didn't
would,
understand that part. And again, I should ask them.
Yeah.
what it would be they can charge fees for services according
Even
to
though it's
Eric.
included in our taxes?
Well.
Well,
let's- I just
The
wanted to
full
jump in.
amount and it's paid off. But we do that for the water department. I suppose they just set it up as an enterprise fund.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the piece. It's kind of like
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen run the town, they will say what's in when you're paying taxes, what's in the operating budget that your taxes pay for.
But I took it as it being an additional fee.
Well, it would be, because what they're saying is today, or FY '24, trash pickup is within the operating budget.
But there's
In FY
in excess of it, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
in FY
yeah.
'25, your operating budget does not include trash pickup, but if you want it, there will be an assessment on your.
So it would not be in the 25 budget at all?
I don't,
And where the heck's that going?
well, but
Would it be cheaper to have your own trash?
I wonder at times, but I don't know.
Well, that was one thing
Convenience.
that Joe said, that he thought that it was on everybody. He was all for just getting rid of trash pickup altogether.
And use that for the override?
is that a rate? I mean, numbers wise, if you're talking.
It's about 800,000, right?
So it's kind of like you.
So it's not the full override, but
It's
it's
not the
part of it.
Full override, but it's.
That wouldn't go over good.
It's not gonna go over good, but and those are the pieces that.
Yeah,
those are the
yeah,
conversations.
yeah. And that's their problem. I'm glad,
Yeah.
not ours. And maybe we shouldn't even be discussing it, to be honest. I don't know.
I think
Well-
it's part of this budget today,
Yeah,
and it could be why we think we may want to pass on reviewing these until we see what
Because everybody's budget is gonna change now.
it could change.
Could,
We're talking
could.
10% across.
Yeah.
A couple of them, we're talking trash.
yeah,
We don't have the liability insurance number yet
right.
finalized. It's kind of like it's.
And they had other ideas too, the selectmen did, it wasn't like, this is all we can
Right,
do.
this is
They did open their minds and,
right. So when they talk about wanting it, and I haven't been approached for a meeting date or anything.
yeah. But they did mention they did want to involve us.
And maybe because we already have next Tuesday at 6 o'clock,
Mhm.
which is one of their normal,
Maybe they'll invite us.
well, we can invite them and say,
Oh, because we haven't, I
because
see,
we
yeah,
have-
yeah,
we
yeah,
have
yeah.
Zoom,
yeah.
so we can
Yeah.
invite them and do a
Yeah.
joint so that we can have budget discussion.
Because it's certainly something we should all talk about, really.
Yeah.
You talking about on the 30th or 25th?
You ain't going on vacation.
I was talking about the 30th because that's a week
Okay,
from
that's the
today,
6th.
and 6 o'clock is their normal meeting
Tuesday
hour.
night, yeah, okay.
Tuesday night is their
Well,
normal,
maybe we could. Oh, whatever.
so. I mean, we can invite them. I don't know if they'd be able to, we don't have time to invite them for Thursday at this point.
Yeah, no.
It's kind of like,
And I think Joe's out of town by the sounds anyway. So.
okay, yeah, so.
Yeah.
But that's the piece, so why don't I take that and reach out to Board of Selectmen Chair? And,
I know Teresa couldn't be here tonight. She did want to be.
probably for exactly this, we're starting to
Yeah.
have these conversations.
Yeah.
So, as it goes, we've barely talked about some of the budget. I did throw out a couple of, samples for how do we record our discussions and our votes. And I know I threw that out, let's see.
Is it on an Excel sheet?
It is.
Yeah,
It's on
yeah.
an Excel sheet, so. Finance committee tech sheet. So this was sort of, so as we go down and have the discussions, what I was looking at is column 8. People on the phone need this blown up a little bit?
No, I can see it okay. Thank you.
I'm good here.
Okay, so we would, in our comments, I just highlighted 2 lines here, so that as we look at the budget, just so that as we're capturing it, sometimes we have questions at the line item level rather than just the budget level. And so this could capture it at the line item level if we had individual questions about, or things we're looking to address on an individual. So like this, the webmaster was a stipend and it was in salary before. And if we look at where it's going in FY '25, it moves from being in the personnel or the stipend area, and it's moving to line 15 in the budget, which is the
Professional
expense
service.
line. It's a professional services because we have outsourced to a company to do that work. So
It's not a saver.
it's not.
Yeah,
it's not a-
exactly.
yeah, it's not a savings, but it's moved, so if you, as we're looking at it, because when the budget was first presented, the salary that we had in 22, 23, and 24 moved to the expense line, but it really wasn't there in 22, 3, and 4, it was in salary.
Yeah.
So we take numbers and move them around, so that we're moving them from personnel, and to me, the reason it's important maybe comes down to the treasurer, because we're paying taxes on things above the line
Mhm.
in personnel. We're not paying income taxes below the line, and some of those things into the retirement system, things like that. So if this ever needs to be this look back, it gets a little confusing. Was it an
Yes.
expense? Was it a salary? Did we pay taxes on it? That sort of thing. So
My old manager used to call it voodoo math.
yeah.
He did, and the accountant freaked out one day. Oh my God!
Mm.
But it is. It's
Right.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my way of looking at it. I did break it out, just so that it helps do some things.
And you sent this, right?
I
think I
did
have
send
it,
this, yeah.
Yeah.
I sent this to everybody.
Mhm.
And then the other is, after we look and talk about lines at an individual level, we can then make recommendations to town based on
Our notes.
our notes.
Yeah.
So that it's a sheet, it's department by department.
Yeah.
And what our recommendation is, or if we had any other questions. And I think it comes down to, we want to look at it and know the detailed level line by line, but we might want to, in the recommendation sheet that we prepare a little bit more summary-wise, department by department, than what our recommendations are. But I throw that out there, if it makes sense that we do it both. We record it at the line item level for us for the detail, and summarize it for the recommendation sheet for town hall, for town meeting. And again, this is
So-
addressing only the budget only, not the total warrant. We then have to do a recommendation
For the
sheet
warrant.
for
too.
all the warrant articles.
So you feel that we should go through this whole thing in the next few weeks?
Yeah.
And put in specific comments.
If we
which-
have comments, if we don't have anything,
Then we fly by.
we
Yeah,
fly
no.
by.
I
Yeah.
think it's a good idea, and that'll be part of the handout that the
That
citizens
goes to-
get, right?
Right, yeah, at town meeting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it'll take some effort, I think, but
It takes some effort, but it's documentation, and I think it's probably worth it.
and we're all set to meet the next, 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, 3 anyway, kind of. 2.5, kind of like, so.
It
And again-
would benefit us, because
Yeah.
we're all gonna look at it, and at the
Right,
same
we're all
time
gonna look
benefit
at
the
it.
town.
Is there any
'Cause they're
chance
gonna
I
see
could get
it.
a hard copy?
That's why my question
Okay.
going early
Yeah.
today is, we don't have support, and
Oh, no.
I don't,
Oh, I know. Okay,
I don't
never mind.
have the
As far as
ability to
paper.
print, so I need
That's
to
okay.
get this. No, I think it should be printed.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like, so that we can take it hard copy. Sometimes it looks
And
better on paper.
highlight
You
our
can read it.
own.
You-
Well,
you
I like to
highlight
write
it
on the
and-
side and,
Right,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, not everybody has the computers and
Mhm.
that, it's kind of like, it gives you the opportunity, instead of looking up on the screen and then trying to figure it out, if you've had notes, you can read the notes and see if there's anything that we have. So.
I think maybe we should, actually do that. Again, it's gonna be a chore.
It's gonna be a chore, but, so I will work in the next day or so to get it printed out on sheets.
Well,
for-
we should, I mean, I don't, if the selectmen requested changes,
Mhm.
Shouldn't
Yeah,
that
that's
be
why
the
we-
budget that you're printing out, hard copy of?
It,
Do we want to wait till they possibly submit a 10% cut?
Well, whatever they're gonna submit to town meeting, we don't want to have to
Sure.
alter our figures while we're there discussing
Right.
that.
So I almost wonder, yeah, we should have a copy of both, I guess. I don't,
so we can, okay, then,
if and when they come out with that 10% cut.
Well, I believe they have to post it damn soon.
right, yeah, I think they were trying to shoot it and get it, shoot for getting it posted tonight.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, so I'm scrolling out a little bit, and if you look at column O, I'll highlight it. One of the things that I can do is bring in the old number. So I have a method that I use to bring
The
in
old number
the
meaning,
old number from a previous version of the worksheet.
oh, I see, okay, yeah.
Um, So in this case, I was comparing it to the budget we had received on March 6th. And so also, and then the next
So that
column,
you could do the 10% if it comes up.
in column P, if it comes up, I can identify.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
look
yeah.
at it. In column P, I'm identifying that it was the same and not changed.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can change the words. I can say
Sure.
unchanged or different. But when we have a line that's different, I can highlight it and we can see that the line's different.
Yeah.
From, you know, in
That
it,
actually makes it pretty easy.
kind of.
A
So
lot of work for you, though.
it's.
You
formal.
love it, I know.
It's formal. It's kind of like, but it, you know, so here we had a line, that it was 2,700 in March, the 6th, and now it's at,
70.
33, yeah, so it's kind of like, so it's at 33.5 today. And again, this is because this is the Board of Selectmen webmaster, and this is what, on the 6th, it was still up in the personnel. Now
It
it's,
changed again.
now it changed, and it's in the expenses, and that's why this line has changed.
Yeah, right, okay, so it's just that,
And
yeah.
it's different. So again, if we, you know, looking at what I did, is kind of like, I just have this formula in here that says, if the two columns are the same, write same. If they're not the same, write different.
So you didn't even gotta go through the whole thing, you don't do it,
Copy my formula and
and if it changes, it shows it.
it shows it.
You ain't gonna work that out.
I had to work.
You did, absolutely, I give you that, you know?
But yeah, so those are the sorts of things. It's kind of like
That's great, I think that's wonderful. I do.
Hmm.
So, and again, for those on the phone, I highlighted a cell where I have the formula and it comes up and it's just doing it, what's called an if statement, and it says if one value equals the other value, right, it's the same. And so
If it doesn't,
even
it's,
if it's a penny different, it's not the same.
right,
So we'll
right.
come up and highlight it.
it's nice.
Don, you're just
So-
showing off. We know.
Yeah, there you go, Josh.
I'm trying to keep my
Please
mind.
keep showing off. That's good information.
It is.
I don't want to take Prevagen. I want to keep my mind sharper, so I don't have to.
You're doing it, man.
it.
Good for you.
So, just things the things I used to do when I was working.
Kind of miss, huh?
Yeah, certain things I miss, other things.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I totally get
As
it.
far as showing off, always like showing off.
There you go.
So yeah, the base work has been done.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like we just have to update the formulas if the cells are a little different and things like that. But in general, it's done.
So I guess for starters, if they don't come out with a new one, we can
We can go with this.
go through the existing,
Right.
and in a magical minute, we can make that 10% change.
Right. Yep. If that's the case.
Perfect.
Yeah. If that's the case and they want to do 10%.
Right, or whatever it happens to be, it'll
Right.
show up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that. It's kind of like, and we can see the column, see the difference in that stuff. So I think we can, maybe it makes sense to wait for a more firm budget, but that just gives us time and says we might need some longer or longer.
Oh, we only got
or
so
an
much
additional
time.
meeting. We only
I
have,
mean, we maxed out with our dates right now to
We-
the end, right?
we did, we don't have any Fridays. Fridays are usually wide open.
You're
on
gonna hurt me,
calendar.
man.
I know,
No.
it's like Fridays are tough. If we're gonna do it, we might wanna do it and try to fit it on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And do
Let's see
Tuesday.
what happens. I mean, it kind of depends on what the school's gonna send us, and hopefully they'll get it, because
Yeah.
everybody wants it. They know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
So our work is getting tighter, but looking at how we manage it, maybe it's a little better. And then if
it's
the
gonna
warrants.
be a little
Yeah,
easier.
yeah. So we can leave the budget for review.
Mhm.
On Thursday, we try to get.
We can start doing the existing,
We can
whatever.
start doing the existing and then work on the warrant.
That's right, because it'll be out, but,
They should be out and
Yeah.
available. by
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Um,
And those won't be final numbers either, sure. On
They're
some of
trying
them.
yeah, I would always change. I mean,
Mhm.
I remember the year we were changing up to an hour before.
Yeah, it was last year, wasn't it? Or the year
No,
before?
Year before, it was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah,
Last year, we were still, we were changing a week out.
yeah.
So it's kind of like, so we're pushing it, but it's kind of like, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
So. Well, okay. Any other questions, thoughts about looking at the budget going forward?
I have a kind of a general question.
Yeah.
I always had the understanding that we had to go to town meeting with a balanced budget.
We do, and that was brought up today. Did you
Mhm.
hear that?
But
Okay.
Terry Walsh said when she was our accountant that you can go with an unbalanced budget. And I don't understand.
I think it was going to the point of, it's a balanced budget based on the numbers you present at the May town meeting, but then you would have to come back and have a special to do the additional funding if you were running out of money
So, all right.
in the fall. So I think that's it. It's a sort of a
That's-
partial budget. So we vote on, it would be voting on a majority of the items, and most of them are right, but there might be a couple that need to be adjusted, so we'll be back in the fall to try to get additional funding. Where that comes from, I'm gonna tell you, it's although when we hit November and December, when we get our certified free cash numbers from FY '24, that's when there may be some monies available to go back and hit that, hit those additional expenses that may be there. I
Yeah, but
believe,
then we're likely to get in trouble with the accountant because if we use free cash to satisfy an ongoing account, then we're in
Mhm.
trouble there.
yeah, I think what we would have to do is on the warrant articles in that fall meeting would be to be specific about use free cash to go to a specific account number.
But that's scary too, if the town doesn't want to
If-
do
if the
that. That's
town
why we
doesn't-
need a supported budget.
That- and that's what they tell you, you should have a budget that based on recurring revenue streams, your your local revenues, your excise
Yeah.
taxes, your other fees that are charged by building inspectors and all that. And the real estate tax. So those are and the cherry sheet money that comes from the state.
Mhm.
Those are your recurring revenue sources that you need to count on to balance the budget. That's what we should be trying to balance the budget to.
It's my opinion, we should not leave town meeting without a balanced budget. And
And
you
that's,
have to come back in the fall and go, we're a little short.
yeah,
We can't do that.
No,
It's,
and again, the only budget line that we are allowed to sort of go that way is the snow.
snow, exactly.
Because-
Somebody talked to me about that today.
Yeah.
Why is snow? I said, because we always have to, it's the only thing in the budget that we allowed to go over. And if we go under or meet
If-
our
if-
goal
yeah.
of what we put in, we can't change that
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, so,
Yes, we need to raise it some, but
right, you want to raise
you
it.
never want to go over.
You
it.
don't
It was
wanna
like
do
that, Mike, right? Rubbish, trash, and snow removal, unpredictable. You could always go over on that, at least where I was, you know?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and those are the pieces, and one of them, you mentioned the trash. I think there's a
oh,
very.
you can in trash here. though,
Right, no, we
In the
can't
town?
because it's in the operating budget, so
Right.
we're trying to have that contract.
Yeah. Right.
However, I believe the contract is going to include tipping fees. I don't know if it means they'll see what the average tipping fee is for basically the cost of dumping their loads.
So it could go lower or higher?
It could go lower or higher in the following.
It'll go
year.
higher.
Oh, yeah, I know it won't go lower.
Yeah. Right, and so when we write a contract this time, if it includes tipping fees, you have probably the guaranteed rate with the optional increase for tipping fees.
Mhm.
Kind of, so this contract is gonna be very different than the last contract. Yeah.
Whereas the other wasn't a variable expense, this one would.
Right, yeah, there was no tipping fees, that was, you know.
Oh, I
So
think
then-
that
oh,
the
then
big
you go
fees
to
have
the-
always been in there. They've just been in
They've been very, yeah,
part of the business. They haven't been
Right.
examined singularly.
Are they gonna stick with, recycling, or if it's just one tip, in one barrel, is it just?
I don't know.
my understanding was it's still 1-in-1, it's kind of like one trash.
They,
one
if we went with them, we'd have to get containers that adapted to the truck.
Right, that's what I'm
And then
saying.
they-
Is it, or is it just one big?
Yeah,
And that becomes the big issues for trash haulers these days. There are requirements, some people for green communities want the recycling, but tipping fees are getting more expensive for recycling than they are for trash. So it's just,
So,
is it
is it
easier
worth
to?
it?
I
Right.
went to the E.L. Harvey place one time.
Yeah.
They had a cookout or whatever, and what they did was most of their trash is they dumped it in the parking lot and sorted it.
Oh,
You know what I mean? The recycling, this, that, it was called, what was it called?
Jumping.
No, something waste, it was everything together. There was no sorting.
it's
You
single
throw it
source.
in, single, that's what it
Single
was.
Yeah.
And they just brought it to the yard and took it apart. And that's what I think they do everywhere now.
Well, I think so, because, I know in a couple of our neighboring towns that do not have trash pickup, it's just throw your,
Single stream, yeah.
Yeah, single stream. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. It's kind of, so those are the pieces, so.
Because, you
That's
know, you
nice
look at
that
what
they do it that way. However, you do know that the state, Massachusetts, mandates recycling.
Yeah,
So
but
that's,
you look at what we're actually allowed to recycle in town, you look at the list, there ain't a lot. It's very minimal, so everything does go into the recycling bin, at least at my house, that I think should be recycled.
Mhm.
And they take it, and you know that they end up sorting it. So I don't understand why.
Well, how do you know they're not sorting it? It was my understanding.
Oh, that's what I'm
that-
saying. If they're sorting it, why don't we do single stream?
Oh,
Maybe-
sorting it that way. I thought you meant they took both containers and emptied it into one thing.
it's
Where-
Right, because I look at the list that they gave me that I can throw in my recycling bin. I don't have most of it. Most of it's, in their eyes, trash.
Right,
Even though I put it in the recycling bin,
the wax.
they take it, so you must assume that they're sorting it. Or they wouldn't be taking it.
right.
That's just my assumption.
Or,
Well, yeah, and when you hear complaints, or I have heard complaints that, the recycling like cans and stuff were not clean enough.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
well,
if they
that's
don't know
what it is.
that they're not clean enough to be recycled, then they must be sorting it.
Exactly. I don't clean the cans. I don't wash my milk things out. That's me, and maybe I'm bad. But they take them in my recycling bin, so you know they do something with it. They don't just,
Yeah, so-
and they do, I'm not the only one that does this, I'm sure, so. It's maybe it's actually single stream, I don't know.
right, but we see them putting it into each side on the truck.
Each side on the truck. Or a different truck picks it up, or there's some days it all goes in one, so.
Yep.
Makes me wonder.
The fact that we're talking on a recorded line, I'm not going to talk about my recycling methods.
You know what? Anybody that's got an issue can give me a call.
Do the best we can with it and keep it. And cut it down, you cardboard, cut it down to
Burn
20.
it.
No, exactly. Oh, always, always.
Bring back the
My
burn.
wife doesn't understand that though. The recycling bin is full after
Yeah.
2 boxes.
Right, yeah.
Well, we cut it down and put it in, it works.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's one of the
And I hope
reasons
she's not
why,
listening.
Bring back the burning barrel.
It's coming. It's coming.
why Shaw's wants with their new trucks and the totes is the claw picks up the tote for trash,
Mm-hmm,
dumps it.
right,
And then the claw picks up the other tote, the other type of tote, and dumps
Right.
it into the recycling.
And they like it that way because they can control the what you're sending them, what they're picking up.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't jam pack. It's certain size, and you can't get much more in there,
right.
which is
Yeah.
good.
Right.
I mean,
And
I
it's
understand that.
The weight of what they're picking up.
Right.
So, okay, so we're beat recycling to, sorry, it's kind of like, I sort of let that go.
Oh, that's
No, I think they're all good subjects and we hear them, and if we understand them, we can better explain.
then we can address them. Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
If on the contract, on what to do with the garbage contract, the Board of Health wanted the people to decide, and he was going. With my understanding, I don't know if it's possible because he had to talk to council and stuff. Eric was going to put 2 additional articles on the warrant for that to decide the trash, which part of the trash pickup, which alternative the public was willing to support. If
Yeah.
those questions are there, then when we come to the budget in the for trash pickup, would we defer to that or just go on with the budget and then just address the other 2 things as adjacent?
I think it's almost a combination of things. Whichever one is the more expensive option, I think has to go in the budget we present. Because
Oh,
at town
okay.
meeting, you can bring a dollar value lower, but you can't raise it.
You can't raise, that's right.
So my thought is we will put the higher dollar value in the budget warrant and then adjust accordingly based on which option they choose. So that it's approved, if it's the expensive option that's chosen, no change has to be done. If they choose the less expensive in the 5-year, my guess is 5 years is gonna be lower price for him because it's a longer term, so
Right.
he can recover costs over more years. That we would be able to reduce that dollar value at town meeting to accommodate the lower priced option.
So now I have another question.
Yep.
Katie, the girl that acts, is our account in town.
Yep,
Very, very good. Easy to work with. Has a, I've been very, very satisfied with her performance.
mhm,
However, maybe this would be too much. The accountant that we pay to be our full-time accountant from the accounting firm,
mhm.
would it be unreasonable to ask them to attend the meeting to kind of take some of the pressure off of her, so all the responsibility doesn't fall to her, but falls to them? And it should, because that is their responsibility.
Right, I think that's, yeah, as town accountant, why wouldn't you wanna, it's kind of like, I think that's a reasonable request we can ask. Because I don't know that Katie's been through a full cycle yet, and they're supposed to be mentor for her, so it makes sense that they would be there and need to be there in person rather than Zoom
Yeah.
or anything else. I don't think we Zoom it and it's kind of like, and even if it's broadcast, that's not a way to get it. She could ask live questions to the people and I know Mark Ham used to be, and I forget the name, they got bought out, but, yeah, I think that would be, a good idea to try to get them. And I thought it was good when they were at the table with us when Terry Wolf was here. I thought that was good. We could have treasurer and finance committee together, so if there was anything, and usually at town meeting, with the warrant articles, there are some adjustments and dollar values in the end that need to be looked at. So I think that's good. I'll see if Katie has already asked for that, and if she hasn't, then we'll work with her and request it through Eric. If the town accountant will be there. Because she is only assistant town accountant, not town accountant, and they have to sign off on what we're doing. So that makes perfect sense if they're there. Okay, just making my notes. To speak to Eric and Steve. Okay, at this point, there was no new correspondence to review. Nothing came in an email, nothing was additional in the inbox, so. And there was nothing on the new business, and so I guess, we'll touch on the next meetings. The agenda that was posted had April 23rd and April 30th. The next meetings are actually April 25th at 4 o'clock, which is this Thursday, and then April 30th next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Back here with the Zoom meeting. That Zoom meeting is different than this one, but back here in the selectmen's chambers next Tuesday.
So do you think that'll be a joint meeting?
I will ask. It's kind of like if they have because they have some work to do to bring it, and so for them to prepare it, I will try. I will send that invitation to Chaz. I just looking at and okay, so let's see. Chaz here, so I'll send him an email and to get that. Okay. With that, and again, if we want to go to the next meeting after April 30th, it is May 2nd, which is the Thursday, at 4 o'clock again.
Is it on the list to start with?
It was on the big list that I
Yeah,
that I
okay.
sent out.
Yeah.
Separate from this, but I will get it on onto the minutes so that.
Is Thursday's meeting on the agenda,
Thursday is not on the town calendar yet. I'm going to see, there's two places because I don't have the agendas.
Yep.
Far in advance, I don't want to post a placeholder agenda. I want to post the real one.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is see if there's a way to send to the webmaster to post our schedule. So when you go into the finance committee page, you can see what our meetings are in that.
Okay, so we're
Because
still gonna meet Thursday, even though it's not noted online.
It's not noted online.
Don,
Yeah.
our webmaster, temporarily is Veronica Kell.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I
yeah,
just didn't know if you knew.
I do. It's kind of like, I did do that and, shoot. I made
Thursday's not on there, is it?
It's not on there and I didn't send the email.
I know, that's what I was just gonna say.
I did it again. I was thinking
So we're
right
not
after
on
this meeting,
So we're gonna have to wait till next Tuesday.
we're gonna have to wait till next Tuesday.
Right. Which isn't a killer because we may We might not have
We,
information
we
for
may
this
not have
meeting.
information,
We
but,
could go, of course, through the older stuff, but
right,
Yeah.
and I was expecting that, so the warrant, when I get the warrants, we'll send them out, we'll do that. I will prepare, hopefully, that we've got another meeting. Eric still had some information that I was waiting on for him, so, I guess at this point, it just makes sense. The next meeting is April 30th and then May 2nd. And then we'll have a talk about if another one is needed.
final results.
They posted the.
They
final.
just did. I just looked at it now. I didn't look, see if there's any changes, but
So, at this point, we have no meeting on Thursday. We'll go to, next Tuesday. We'll try to make it a joint meeting with Board of Selectmen if they're available.
that's what, the 30th, right?
That's the 30th.
Okay.
And, in the meantime, that gives me time to work things on the side. And do that and, okay, then we are at the end. I would entertain the motion. Before I do that, any last questions from anybody? Now's the time to
No questions.
questions or
No.
thoughts, okay?
All right, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 7:11 PM.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Joan Bozikis, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes?
Josh Levitt, yes.
Don Hayes, yes. We stand adjourned. Thank you all. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
Tuesday.